this video, we will learn how to programmatically use System Mixed Checkbox. So let's first create a new VI and let's save it first. Let's call it Programming System Mixed Checkbox. Programming System Mixed Checkbox. Let's create its user interface. Let's use a multi-column list box. Let's call it result list. Let's have a column called test name and another one called result. Let's fill some data. And some results. Now let's go to System Palette, Boolean, and System Mixed Checkbox. Let's call it test result. Let's edit this text. Let's simplify it to next what we want is that when if the user has selected something from here, let's modify it to allow users to highlight the entire row. So if user has selected a particular row and then he clicks this, then the result should show pass. If he unselects it, then it should show fail, but not the mixed type. So just not allow user to select a mixed type, so that we can enter by selecting a particular row, user can only select pass or fail. We want the user to be able to select multiple rows. So let's allow the user to select multiple rows by using this option 0 or more items. So now the user can select multiple rows by pressing the mouse button. If the user has selected, let's say, failed, then the checkbox will remain empty. If he has selected pass, then the check mark should show. If he has selected mixed results, then the mixed result will show here. This is only for showing. And lastly, let's place a stop button here. Let's hide its label. And let's now go to the block diagram. So what we want here is to initialize the shift registers with the Boolean test result values and the current text in the text box. If the value of the list box changes, we want to update the checkbox to display the pass, fail or mixed status of the selected list items. If the value of the checkbox changes, we want to assign the new value to the selected list item. So for doing that, let's have a while loop. And let's initialize a array of booleans for these results. Let's have a shift register. Let's create a array that mimics this starting list box results. Let's change it to array. Let's open 2, 3, 4, 5 elements, as many as there are tests here. So the first one is false, fail, so let's turn it to fail. Next one is fail, next one is passed, then again failed, and then again passed. Let's connect it to the shift register. We have initial Boolean array that mimics this results that we have already initialized. Next, we want to be able to handle the events. So let's create an event structure. The first event would be handle the stop button. So if the stop button is pressed, then let's close this loop, and in this event we just don't want to change this array. Let's pass it through. Next, we want to manipulate the results here when this checkbox is pressed. So let's get the strings. We can get those by using the item names property. It's a 2D array. Let's pass it. Let's also save it in a shift register, the initial values, and let's pass it through in the stop event case. This event case stops the VI. So let's proceed to the event case when the value of this multi-column list box changes. So let's create another event. Result list value change. Okay. So when the user changes the text here, the value changes. What we want to do is we want to find which elements the user has selected, which rows the user has selected, which we can get from this array. So let's go through this array by using a for loop. And let's find out index array. So we will go through this array in the shift register, which will also pass through. We will disable indexing here. So the entire array is passed through, and we will go through this selected rows, whatever the rows the user has selected. From this list box, go through entire row and find out what is the value of the true or false value of the test result, and we will make an array of that. Then we want to know if all the elements that the user has selected are for the pass results. If that is the case, let's get a case structure. All the results that the user has selected are for the pass result. Then for this, let's create a local variable. So if this is true, then let's create a constant and set it to true. So it will show this checkbox will show true. All the results are true. If that is not the case, if the results selected in this multi-column list box are mixed type, then we will come to the false case and we'll fill the checkbox accordingly. So let's do a select function. Let's find out so already know if it is not true, then the user has selected mixed types. So if this array has true or false both, then in that case the type is mixed. This checkbox will show mixed symbol. Otherwise, he has only selected failed cases, in which case we will keep the checkbox empty. Let's pass this item names through, and we are done for this event case. So let's create another event handling code for when the user presses this, changes the values of this mixed checkbox. So let's create another event for test result value change. So if the user has clicked on it and changed its value, then what we want to do is find out what values, which rows were selected over here. Change it to write, change it to read, then go through it using a for loop, item by item. And then we want to replace the array subset let's create a shift register for keeping this array. Then we want to modify it. So let's go through this array. Let's find out the element selected here one by one and then replace it with what? If the mixed checkbox value equals true, then replace it with true. Otherwise replace it with the false. And we will continue this shift registered array of test results here. Now what we want is to change this text also accordingly. So let's have another for loop. Let's iterate through this list, this array, and if this item is, any of this item is true, then pass the string or otherwise update the string as fail. And next we want to replace the strings in this multi-column list box, but in this column accordingly. So first we need the original list, which we will get from here, and then we will replace this to the array in this row and in column number 1, which has the results, and set it to either pass or fail string, and then we will keep this updated list in this shift register and pass a copy over here, and we will update it by changing it to right, and we will write this and update it in the result list. So we are done. Let's clean up the code. Although timeout is not going to take place, we have not configured it, but anyhow. So we are done with coding. So let's go and test our code. Let's run it. So whatever we select, if we select fail, then this should remain cleared. If we select pass, then it should show a check mark. But if we select more than one by pressing the control key, let's select 2 passes, it's still passed. But if we select a mixed type, pass and fail, then it should show a mixed type. Also, we want to update these values. Let's change it to pass. If we click this test result multi-state checkbox, then it should turn to pass. This one is failed. Let's also turn it to pass. This one is passed. Let's turn it to fail. So this application is working as intended, and in this example we have seen how we can use this system mixed checkbox programmatically.